It's a bit of an overwhelming question because, in short, it's everything. It's everything. It's our memories. It's our DNA. It's who we are, and it's us, right? It's our story. It's our story. So it really is everything. And I know that we all respect the countries that we grew up in, that we were born in, that we live in. Full respect, but we belong to a history of people and a culture and a heritage that is so rich that even after all these years, it's such a strong part of who we are.
Welcome to this episode of Greece Chats. In today's episode, I'm joined by Nikos Psaltopoulos. Niko is a sea leader, founder, advisor, and the former COO of MarineTraffic. We originally met during the Clubhouse craze and met shortly after in person purely by luck while I was walking into a coffee shop in Monastiraki, Athens. And then we developed a really, really cool friendship. Let's jump into this conversation with Niko. Hey, Niko.
Hello, Tony. How you doing?
I'm well. How are you doing? Thanks for coming on the show.
Of course. I know we've been trying to get this to happen and we just haven't had the chance. So
Right.
I'm stoked that we can do this.
Likewise. Yeah, no, it's come up in conversation a bunch of times, but I'm happy it's finally come to fruition and we can get this done.
Amazing. Because we go back, right? We go back to Clubhouse days.
Yes, and we'll get into that for sure. We'll get into all that good stuff, Clubhouse, how we met. But before we talk about how we met, why don't we talk about who you are? Tell us who you are. Tell our listeners who you are.
Amazing. Thank you for the opportunity, Tony. It's really good to do this with you. My name's Niko. I'm a Greek Australian, born and raised in Melbourne. Super passionate about Greece and making a difference. My career's kind of broken up into three different areas. Journalism was the first part, which really taught me a lot about communication and the importance of being able to communicate clearly. The second part was pharmaceuticals, so very, very corporate, learning how to manage and build a business. And the third part was this incredible, colourful world of startups and entrepreneurship and innovation, which taught me all the stuff that I'm currently doing at the moment and I absolutely love. So it's a very non-linear career trajectory and it's been quite an adventure. More importantly as well, I'm a proud dad of two teenage sons who are now way bigger than I am, and they're incredible young men, and I'm super, super proud of who they are and who they're becoming. So that's kind of me in a bit of a nutshell.
Amazing. Now let's talk about how we met. Let's hear the story from your perspective.
Well, so this was during the early days of the COVID period where everyone was kind of locked indoors and a lot of the audio apps and Clubhouse in particular was really, really taking off. And I think because we all were spending so much time at home, we were looking at ways to connect with the community or with like-minded people. So I stumbled across Clubhouse, and being a tech fan, it was on my radar. And of course, you're going to follow the path down to where your fellow Greek compatriots are. And I fell into this Greek community that was predominantly US based. And in that community, you were talking and you were hosting and you were contributing. And I couldn't see you, but I vibed with you, right? and that was kind of like the start of the way that we began to interact. And I know we had a couple of conversations on Clubhouse, but what I love most is that we've kind of had these connections, online connections, till one day we both walk into the same bakery in Monastiraki Square in Athens. And I walk in and you're already there. And I'm like, I wanted to catch up with this guy and here he is right in front of me. It's Tony. And that kind of kickstarted what has become a friendship that I really, really value. So, and then we had a great summer that year and we caught up again this summer here in Athens. So that's a summary of how it came to be. But how do you remember it? Is that how you remember it?
No, it's exactly the same way. The really cool moment was in Monastiraki where I was in that bakery grabbing coffee, and then saw you, and then right afterwards, another friend walked up to us that I didn't know was going to meet me there either. And that's the power of Greece too, though. Greece pulls people that might know each other together or that should know each other. And I think it should know each other because, yeah, like you said, it's been a fun, awesome friendship since we've met.
It's been incredible. And I just remembered as you were saying that up until we met at that moment, we were sending messages to each other because we both knew that we were here and we were trying to find time where we can connect and get together. But it's what you just said. It's the serendipitous nature of just being in Greece.
Yeah.
You never know who you'll bump into and when, right? So, yeah, it was a great summer.
Yeah, no, for sure. And then shortly after, we ended up meeting up, and I think with Maria came. Was Maria in Monastiraki when we ran into? Yes, Maria was there too.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, and then it was the week or two later where we met up for coffee, and where did we meet?
In Pagrati.
Pagrati, yes.
Yeah, and for anyone that hasn't been to Pagrati, please come to Pagrati. It's an incredible neighborhood. I'm a huge ambassador for the suburb that I live in. It's close to the city. It's amazing, and it's really, really vibrant. So you'd love it. You'd absolutely love it.
Yes. The interesting thing of Pagrati and just all these neighborhoods that surround Plaka and Acropolis and all that stuff. Lately on my social media, on not on my Instagram, but on Facebook, I've been sharing ancient photos of Greece, and just to get people talking about them. And it's wild to me that these neighborhoods are not over 100 years old.
Yeah.
They're not. Like these photos of late 1800s, these were farmlands. And everyone's assuming every neighborhood is this ancient neighborhood, and it's not. And I just find that fascinating. Like the only part that existed in these photos was like, okay, the Monastiraki area and Mu was a dirt road. It's wild what has happened over these last 150 years.
It's crazy when you think about it. I mean, the big boom of the 50s, 60s, and 70s saw the Athens that we have today, right? Because up until then, you're absolutely right, Tony. They were all like fields, right? Fields with abelia and olives and all the stuff that you'd expect in a rural type of Greece. So this boom, it's new. But what I love about it is, and we've lived it together, right? It's a city, it's a country that's social by design. So you're always somehow connected to the community that you live in, and you feel a part of community. Whereas coming from the US, coming from Australia, we're very, very spread out, in the way that we live. And that can be really, really isolating. And even in your own hometown, whether it's US, UK, or Oz, you can feel lonely. Whereas you come by yourself to a city like Athens or to a country like Greece, and you never really feel lonely, because lonely here is not a choice. It's not a choice, because you walk down the street, you walk outside your apartment, there are stores, there are platias. The power of a town square, of a platia, is incredible. Like, it brings everyone together in such a serendipitous way, as we were saying before. So, the energy that you feel is second to none. I mean, you come home thinking that you have a bit of a rest, but this is the thing in Athens: you get FOMO because that there's so much stuff going on out there. You never want to miss out, so you're always like pounding the pavement. You're always out on the street. So
for sure,
it's all new and it's social by design. Sorry, Tony.
For sure, and if you're a solo traveler listener, I mean and you want to go to Greece and not feel lonely, like there is no loneliness. Like if you just go out and just walk through the city, like you're saying, grabbing your coffee is a social experience because the person that's going to make it for you is going to talk to you like they know you. And that's one thing I've always loved about Greece. The minute you get there, you'll be ordering a gyro or anything, and you're by yourself. It feels like it's still community.
100%, and I think it's cultural, it's innate, it's who we are as a people. There are places that I go to here for a coffee, for a meal, and we talk about philotimo and what philotimo is and what it represents and what it translates to. The places that you go to, many times there are gerasmata. People shout you a coffee, they may shout you a meal, they may shout you some dessert. And it's not even the fact that, it's something free that's given to you. It's the sentiment and the emotion behind that. of wanting to serve, wanting to please, wanting to make you happy. And, you know, case in point, I could be going to the same coffee shop in my hometown of Melbourne for 10, 20 years, and I never get a free coffee. You know, I never get the Getter's Mark.
Right.
I never get that. And once again, it's not about the free stuff. It's about what that represents.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not the free that I saved €2 today. It's more than that. It's not more than that. It's the saving €2 has nothing to do with it.
100%. It's the emotion behind it.
Yeah.
It's wanting to serve. It's wanting to please. It's wanting to make you happy and include you, right? And it's no different to going to one of your favorite auntie's place when, you know, she's doing a trapezi, she's serving up a meal, and you walk in and there's a, you know, counter full of food, right? It's that.
Yeah.
And it's innate.
Well, I learned a new word. What was that word you used for treating? Shat?
Well, a shout. Yeah, shout.
A shout. Yeah, no, I didn't know that was used that way. So I learned something new today.
It's the term that we use back home. Like somebody shouts you something.
Shout.
I know.
Okay.
It sounds a bit aggressive, doesn't it? You shout at something, but they shout you something.
Yeah. I like it. I like it. I might start using it.
Go for it.
All right, let's shift back to what you said you were doing. So I know before what's happening in the moment, we'll save that for later. You were recently with MarineTraffic. Can you talk about your time there, the experience, just as a whole, and your role, of course?
Of course, would love to. Just before MarineTraffic, I was doing some consulting work that would bring me into Europe, and I had the chance to work with a number of different companies around innovation management, entrepreneurship, all of that. And well, one of my really good friends who I've known for over 30 years, Habs, who works for MarineTraffic, would say to me, "Look, come to Athens, and I need to introduce you to our CEO, Dimitris Memos. You and Dimitri are very similar. You'll connect, and you could do great work together." So, as luck would have it, I was able to come to Athens. I met Dimitri. Dimitri asked me to consult with the team for a little bit and run like one of their kickoff meetings, which I did. And at the end of it, he said to me, "Well, what's going to happen here?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" He said, "How can we work together?" And I'm like, "Explain. Like, what are you thinking?" And at that point, we basically talked about me joining as Chief Operating Officer for the organisation. The work that I had just done was probably a very public job interview in front of the whole team. And Tony, without thinking about it, I said yes. I said yes because what I could see was this hotbed of innovation and creative thinking and really good people doing really, really good work. And so there was that part. The other part was the opportunity. This was an incredible tech company in the maritime space that was bootstrapped, you know, founded by a really passionate founder, Dimitris Lakas from the University of the Aegean, who had this incredible idea, created this incredible community around the world with over 5,500 shipping enthusiasts who would basically provide data, and then we'd platform the data and on-sell it. And it was just incredible that this was a great company. And for me, in that moment, when all the pieces came together and I understood where I was, it was just a no-brainer. It was a no-brainer. And it really redefined Greece for me, right? Because I'm part of the generation that grew up with this notion of the demosio here in Greece, the public sector. And, you know, everyone wanted a job in the public sector because that gave you a surety and it gave you tenure and it gave you all of that. But that was just, you know, an innovation killer. And then to come across a company like this, it redefined the workplace for me. And then the more I stayed here, the deeper I got into it, and I realized just how incredible the tech scene and the startup scene and entrepreneurship, full stop, is here in Greece. And I mean, and it's not just me saying it. I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. Like 6 years ago, there were probably 15 serious tech companies in Greece, in Athens. There are 450 now. 450. With many, many, many more startups and solo entrepreneurs doing incredible work. On top of that, it also translates to funding as well. And I think the figure is, like in 2014, there was like $350 million worth of tech investment in Greece, so 350 million USD. Now, and according to figures from Endeavour, It's 8.5 billion. Like, that's an enormous leap forward. And that leap is happening because there's something incredible happening here in Greece. So if you're thinking that Greece is tourism and only tourism, and the Greeks are incredible with tourism, you're mistaken. There's so much more to the future of Greece, and tech is part of its future.
That's awesome. For those that don't know exactly what MarineTraffic is, can you talk to me about that in itself, and also maybe some of the challenges you might have faced as COO and how you navigated them?
Of course. So what is MarineTraffic? MarineTraffic is a maritime ship tracking data place where Mr. Lakos basically grew and created an incredible community, as I mentioned earlier, of many thousands of people around the world. Those people, this incredible community, had receivers. So it's a physical receiver that they had installed at their place or close to a port. Every ship or every vessel that travels the oceans needs to have a transponder, an AIS transponder. So what would happen is every time a ship comes past, the receiver picks up the data. We get the data, we re-platform the data in a very intelligent way, helping people make data-driven decisions with the data that they see. And then we on-sell the data through a subscription model. Now, our community always had access to the data because that was the give and take. You nurtured the community, and we always did because that was so important to the group. But MarineTraffic became the Google of maritime. And this was a Greek company that started out of an idea and out of passion, and anything to do with maritime, it was MarineTraffic. It was MarineTraffic. So you could track any vessel in the world in real time. Shipping companies could actually manage their shipping operations through the platform. And we also launched a number of verticals through that time, just to provide more data, more analytics, more value to all our users. So incredible. And I was with the company for 6 years. We ended up selling the company early this year in February 2023 to a Belgian-based group. So successful exit. Challenges that I faced as COO. Firstly, the biggest challenge that I faced was, when I first said to people that I was coming to Athens to work for a tech startup, many people were like, sorry, did you say Athens, Greece? Because this was in 2017, right? This was in 2017,
Yeah.
tail end of the financial crisis, a very, very, very difficult time for the people that lived here. And people couldn't get their heads around that. Up until that point, I'd always be flying into San Fran and doing some stuff there and checking out what was going on there. So people just assumed that I'd be doing that. But when I came to Athens, it took people a bit of an adjustment. But as I said earlier, I could see what was happening here. So I really wanted to be here and be part of it. So that was probably not a big challenge, but just sharing, with people the incredible opportunity that existed here. The other thing that I faced was, I've always had a very optimistic, can-do, let's get up and do it attitude. And I know it can be a bit full on for people. And when I first got here, because it was tail end of crisis, many people were battered, and bruised, and it was a difficult time. So along comes this, happy-go-lucky, Greek Australian from down under, who's like, happy as Larry and always pretty upbeat. And it was probably it might have been, and I'm just thinking about it from their perspective. They would have thought, who the heck is this? Is he for real? Like, what is his problem? But I think what happened was, if you're a positive person and you're fed income, you're real, and you're consistent, all that becomes infectious, and it becomes a force for good. And people see the authenticity, they see the good intention, and they want to be part of that, And slowly, what starts to happen is, that spreads and it grows and it creates momentum and it creates a greater force for good where you can do some really good work. So it wasn't as much of a challenge. It was probably just where people had been and the experience that they had, where a walk kind of came up, you know, is he for real kind of thing. But as you know, I'm for real.
Yes,
A bit
yes,
full on, but for real.
yes. So what can you take away from MarineTraffic now that that part of your life is over, and apply to what's next?
So, firstly, I take away with me some, many, many incredible relationships and friendships that I formed over 6 years in the organisation. I take away incredible memories. I learned so much. I grew so much. I was totally out of my comfort zone at times, dealing with things that I never thought that would be navigating through, including obviously COVID, but what it taught me, and the example of COVID is really relevant, what it taught me was, you stay close to the people and you always support the team that you're responsible for and you make sure that everyone's okay. And, during COVID, we opted to be even closer with the team. Although we were working apart, we opted to be even closer, regular cadence of catch-ups and meetings and briefings and we set some pretty big goals. We didn't take a moment to, take it easy. We gave everyone a chance to breathe, but we set some really pretty big goals and we set a vision. And the vision was very, very simple. We said to the team that a crisis can either make us or it can break us. And we, as a leadership team, are choosing for this to make us. And it certainly did. It certainly did. So navigating through change, navigating through a pandemic, all of that, and all the things that we learn along the way are things that I take with me, as well as some pretty valuable relationships. It was an incredible, incredible experience. The other thing that I take with me too is that anything and everything is possible. This started off as an idea then became a commercial enterprise. Before you knew it, it was a massive operation, providing data to people, 6 million unique users a month, like an incredible success story. Working closely with New York Times and Wall Street Journal and Al Jazeera, helping these news networks build stories around situations that they were investigating. So, and this was a little Greek startup. So imagine how many more of them are out there. Imagine picking the next one.
I know. So what now? What's next? Is it time off? What's up?
Look, so I stepped down from my role in July this year, and it was time. It was time. We sold the company. I helped the new owners lead the integration. So I worked on that as the company's business integration director, which was a great experience. But then it was time to take a pause, Tony, and breathe. So we went traveling with the family, and I had about 5-6 months off, and it's been absolutely incredible. So we just did a trip through Europe, trip through Greece, and we've just had an incredible time. As soon as I left, it was super humbling because I was approached by some companies to join them, and it was really, really tempting to jump straight back into something. But I actually wanted to have a break without having a job, to be honest. Not having the responsibility or the accountability, and just really being in the moment, because I know we all say that, how many times do you hear life is short, life is short, life is short, but life is short, life is short. So when you're given opportunities to be in the moment and create incredible memories, I'm going to seize that, and we should all seize that. So I said no to those opportunities. But what I did do in my last few days of MarineTraffic, I actually sat down and I put together a vision board, and I really thought about, what do I want 2024 to look like? How do I want to invest my time? What's going to make me happy? What's going to fill me, right? So I put together a vision board that I've kept on revisiting over the last few months and adding more detail to all the things that I wanted to be doing. And lo and behold, it becomes self-fulfilling, right? A lot of the conversations that I started having with different companies and CEOs and heads of HR led me to that. So now 2024 is shaping up to be like an absolutely massive year, and I'm super, super pumped for it because I'll be able to make a difference with a number of different organizations.
That's amazing. What or who inspires your work ethic?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think there are a number of people. A number of people. One of my early mentors was a footy coach in Australia, not American footy, like the real footy, right? The tough footy. His name was Tommy Hafey, and he was like an absolute legend and a total inspiration. Where in his early 70s he was still running, 10Ks a day, swimming, push-ups, all of that, and he taught me discipline. The importance of being disciplined, being organized and coordinated, and being consistent. That it was consistency that actually developed resilience and developed strength. So he was absolutely amazing. My my other inspo is my former CEO, Dimitris Memos, who was an incredible empath and a realist as well, but always saw the good and always saw the flip side to a situation, and always with good intent. So both incredible people with really, really strong work ethic and passion.
Well said. What is your definition of success?
Making a difference. Making a difference. It's not the money, it's not the lifestyle, it's, making a difference to the people that you support and that you lead, so you can help be part of a transformative period in their lives. That for me is the ultimate. And I'll give you an example. And it's not a work example, but I was at a conference a few years ago. It was a TEDx conference in Melbourne, actually. And, you have your breaks during the day. And during one of the breaks, I stepped outside the auditorium, and there was this young guy just sitting on the floor next to the door. And I sat down with him. I'm like, hey, where are you from? He was an Italian guy from Italy, and he stumbled across TEDx. So he sat at the event, and he said how much he loved it, in his broken English, how much he loved it, how much he loves this entrepreneurship. And I said, well, look, if you love this, this is a one-off event. They're awesome events, but come and join us at Startup Grind. Now, Startup Grind is a global community of entrepreneurs and innovators. I'm part of the Melbourne chapter, and we used to run monthly meetings, right? And I got him to come on board and check out our get-togethers on a monthly basis, where an entrepreneur would actually share their story and really inspire the crowd, and then we'd have community building as well as part of it. And he absolutely thrived in it, and he did it for a while, and then he disappeared. And I'm like, okay, where did he go? He just disappeared. We never got a chance to say goodbye or anything. And about a year and a half later, maybe two, I'd gone to the global conference in San Fran for Startup Grind, and as I'm walking to the auditorium, he sees me and he shouts out, Niko, hey. So we see each other, we hug each other. He goes, oh my God, I'm so happy that you're here, because I want to introduce you to some people. And Tony, what he did, he had 3 or 4 people with him that he introduced me to, and these are people that he got together in Naples because he was so inspired by the Startup Grind in Melbourne. He went back to Naples and kick-started Startup Grind chapter in Naples and brought together young, aspiring entrepreneurs. He brought together the local university, and he built an incredible community of like-minded people in Naples, his hometown, because he was so inspired by the experience that he had in Melbourne. Now, how do you measure that? How do you measure that? How do you measure that in terms of the difference that you make? And, we can never, ever underestimate the power of a conversation, the power of positive influence, and the power of just wanting to do good. So that's just one of the many examples. But I do say to my kids, because I travel so much and I meet so many people, and sometimes I come back home with some crazy, crazy stories of the people that I've met and the things that I've done, and the things that I've seen. And I know the kids are like, really, Dad? Really? You know these people? You've done this? But there's a film called Big Fish where the dad in the film passes away, and at his funeral, all the people that he talked about, that he met, that he inspired, that he connected with, from all walks of life, all of a sudden appeared at the funeral to pay respects. Even though the kids thought that he was improvising, it was actual fact. I love that story, and I keep on reminding to my kids, like, boys, this is Big Fish. This is Big Fish.
Talk to me about These three powerful words, when they're put together, I know you'll know exactly what I mean once I say it. But talk to me about the power of just press send.
Wow. It's funny, I was thinking about these words actually just before our discussion today. Um, just press send is really, really important because many people are sitting on incredible ideas. They've seen a gap in the market, they have seen and identified an opportunity, but are paralyzed by overanalysis, paralyzed by fear, paralyzed by other emotions that hold them back from exploring a startup or exploring an idea or monetizing something, myself included, yeah, as you know, because you've inspired me with that too. So my advice to that is just jump. Just jump. As you said to me, just press send, just hit send. They're super, super powerful words, but not just words. They should inspire actions, right? Because the world that we're in today is so different. It's so different to, my God, the world that we were expecting. Technological advancements are happening at a pace so much faster. Yet schools and established institutions like the education system is still stuck in the same way that I learned in the 70s and 80s and 90s. Nothing has changed, or very little has changed. So what does that mean? Education is at a bit of a standstill with some attempts to move forward, yet the society that we're living in is moving so fast. Well, we've got to understand that, we've got to accept that, and we've got to hit send. We've got to expect disruption. We've got to embrace disruption because our ability to disrupt ourselves is our currency. It's what keeps us relevant, And if we can't do that, it's over. It's right. Over. So how do we teach kids that? How do we teach aspiring kids that? It's, to your point, just press send. Just jump. Do it. Don't overthink it. Just do it. Because this is a new world economy and it's not going anywhere.
You mentioned all the tech advancements over these last decade, and now they're just, each month feels like 5 years has passed by. Obviously, I'm sure you've know a lot about AI now. I just wanted your take. How can AI help us? How can it help someone who maybe wants to build a startup or someone who just wants to press send?
Great question, Tony. This is probably the best time ever to bring your ideas to life because the resourcing that's available to all of us, it really democratizes the ability to launch a startup. It's easier now than ever before. The cost of entry is cheaper now than ever before because we all have technology like AI and like numerous apps that we can leverage and lean on that can really bring an idea to life almost overnight. Only a few years ago, we remember dial-up internet when it first, when it first happened, and if I remember the first time I saw Netscape. You're looking at this page online and you're thinking, how do they build this? How do they make this page? How do they?
Yeah.
You can put together a page in like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So you can put your page up. You can automate a number of different things. You can have your online store. You can have a consulting firm. Whatever you choose to do, now is an incredible time to do it. And AI can also be a force for good to accelerate the development of whatever it is you're doing. So I think it's a really exciting time for entrepreneurs absolutely everywhere. And the other thing is too, I talk about cost of entry. You no longer need massive teams. You can have solopreneurs where it's a 1, 2, 3 person operation and, they've got the bite and the might of, a massive group. It's only a small group, and all that technology is available to us. We just need to, and it's what I say to the kids, and it's what many people are faced with. Social media, good and bad. And I say this to the boys, just make sure that you're creating and not just consuming. Because if you fall into the trap of consuming, you're scrolling, and an hour becomes 5 hours, and whatever idea you've got, it's gone because scrolling is mind-numbing, right?
Yeah.
Whereas if you can use it as a force and as a tool, you create, and when you create, that becomes inspiring. You've got to think outside the box. You've got to do stuff with it. And that puts you in a different mindset. So it's, consuming versus creating. And we need to be really deliberate with how we use it. I mean, like any tool, it's there and it can be used either for good or not so good.
Well said. These last few years, there's been a rise in digital nomads working from Greece, especially with the power of today's technology with computers and people want to travel. Can you talk to me? There's obviously a lot of pros that come with this. You get to be anywhere in the world. You can go to Greece. You can work from the beach. But are there some cons to it? Maybe are we overworking? Are we spending too much time in front of the computers building and not actually living our lives?
Wow, I think we need to be really aware and conscious of what we're doing, because remote working is an incredible opportunity, and this is something that it's stuff of science fiction is made of, having people in the virtual office from home, and now this is the norm. But obviously this was accelerated by COVID and everything that we all experienced with COVID. And although this was probably going to happen in the next 10, 15, 20 years, we all did it in like a few months. Right? And it was really, really messy. It was really, really clumsy at the beginning. Hello, your mic is off. Hello, your camera is off. All of that was happening. Very, very awkward. But we did it, right? And it's here to stay. It's not going anywhere. So it's up to us now to really manage it so it works for us and not against us. Because you're absolutely right, Tony. It can be a trap. It can be a trap where you're working around the clock. But we're human, and we're not defined by the job that we do or the work that we do. And that being in the moment, because, hey, life is short, as we were saying earlier, is really important. But that needs to be deliberate. It needs to be conscious. What I do love seeing, though, and you'd be able to relate to this, a few days ago, I walked into Dope in Athens, and I went upstairs, and it was packed with young people on their comps, working really hard, collaborating, talking with each other, and it had a really, really good vibe. And you can walk to any cafe anywhere in Athens or any city in the world and see that. And it's so good to see. But we just need to be mindful of the balance. And I totally agree with you.
Amazing. Yeah, you actually took the next thing out of my what I was going to bring up next is working from Dope. I was going to say, whatever you're going to end up doing next, I can envision the future that you're going to build something that's got a combination of Greece, tech, remote, coffee at the beach, or coffee at Dope.
And they do good coffee, right? They do good coffee.
They do good coffee.
Except, you know what? I'm upset. They've discontinued the biscuits that I used to love there. The pistachio biscuits. I keep on going back there as a sign of protest, and I always ask for them. But they just look at me like, no, we don't have them.
Yeah. Like, keep it going. All right, I want to talk about Greece, about things you like about Greece, where you call home. But before we do that, I got to read off some sponsors that make this podcast possible. So, here are some read-offs. Up first, we have Klosti. Klosti makes handmade products straight out of Greece for all occasions. Amazing gift ideas for men, women, and children. You can check them out at klosti.com. On Instagram, they are at klosti_handmade. Up next, we have Castor et Leon Premium Sippin' Vodka. Castor et Leon is a vodka distilled with Greek grains and olives, straight out of Nafpaktos, Greece. Have you visited Nafpaktos?
I haven't, but it sounds really nice, actually.
Everyone tells me it's whoever has been there raves about it. I haven't been there, so I haven't tried Nafpaktos, but I have tried Castor et Leon. It is delicious. Please drink responsibly and make sure you follow the guidelines in your area. I know last time I had somebody on from Australia, they told me that it's 18 and over. But
That's
here
correct.
in the US, it's 21 and over. I don't know what the Greek age is. What is it in Greece?
5? Is there
you can just walk in and grab the bottle, right? Up next is Origins. Origins is an app that makes a perfect travel companion, especially for someone that loves connecting with new people. The way it works is you create an account, you tell it where you're from. for instance, I would put Kalinos, Kalamata, Boston, Greece. Let's say I came and visited you in Australia, and I open the app, and it'll show me people that share those routes and that are close by. So if someone shares Kalamata and they're 5 miles on the road, I'd say, hey, Niko, come with me. Let's go hang out with this guy from Kalamata. Maybe he's got something cool to show us. And maybe it'll be somebody cool that becomes a friend. Or you create a parea. Or the possibilities are endless. Check them out. They're on the App Store. They're on the Google Store. Origins. And you can learn more about it on Instagram at Origins App. Up next, are you a Greek that from the diaspora looking to get your citizenship? Head over to greece-media.com/Greek citizenship. The team over at Greece Media is ready to help you file your paperwork. Or if you don't have Greek citizenship, you can also get the Golden Visa or the Digital Nomad Visa. We were talking about digital nomads recently and the rise. So Greece has realized that, and they making it easy for you to come and reside in Greece as long as you're working for a company outside of Greece and can show proof of that along with some other requirements, which are really cool. It allows you to be in Greece for as long as you want. Asterisks, there are some limitations. Learn more at greece-media.com. Next, we have travel. If you're looking to travel to Greece soon and you want to build an itinerary, you want to book a tour, you want to book excursions, anything travel related, head to greece-media.com/tours. I got two more. This one is targeted to people that reside in the States. If you're a Greek American or just an American out of America, Greece, the show's so Greek. Out of America, if you're looking to realize your dream of home ownership, check out Savas Mortgage. His name is Savas Fetfatsidis, and he's helping Greek Americans and Americans and anyone living in America realize their home by getting them a mortgage. You can learn a lot more on his page as he teaches you daily tips and tricks of how to prepare yourself for this big moment. Check out his daily reels. It's at Savas Mortgage. And last but not least, a new product that was recently sent to me is wild olive oil straight out of Greece. They claim a medicinal olive oil that can help you live a better life. Learn more at Zoiful. The link is in the show notes, a direct link to learn more about the product. And if you've listened to this podcast before, a recent episode covered this product. That's all I got, Niko. I won't bore you with more ads.
Not at all. I'm actually, that's my shopping list right now that you just
there you
read
go.
out, so
there you go. And if you are shopping, check out, thanks for reminding me, this is not on the ads list. This is a self-plug. Greece Media built a gift guide for the holiday season. And that's on greece-media.com/blog. All right, Niko, let's talk Greece. Where in Greece do you call home?
Athens, of course. Incredible, electric, amazing city. And it's amazing because Athena, we're a matriarchal society. Athena, we named a city after a strong, inspiring woman, right? Yeah. And she gives us her everything, every single day. She's an affront to the senses. She gives us her love, her anger, her fury, her passion, her embrace. She gives us absolutely everything every single day. And yes, it may sound romantic, but it's fact, because in a city like Athens, you can't be on autopilot. You don't have the luxury that we do in Australia or the US or in the UK, where you leave your home in the morning, you drive to the office, and you get to the office and like, how did I even get here? You don't have the luxury here. Here, you need to be on alert at all times. So when I walk out that front door, I do like my stavro, and I'm like, I hope I get home okay by the end of today. But you know what? It's you're alive. You're alive, and I think it's a city that does that. There's so much life here. There's so much activity. Everyone kind of lives together. You love it. You get FOMO being indoors, as I was saying before. So Athens is home.
What would you tell a traveler that is visiting Athens for the very first time? One tip.
Many people in the past used to do an overnight trip to Athens, or they used to be at the airport and then go to the islands. The tip that I would have is give yourself time to fall into the Alice in Wonderland type of experience that Athens is. So give yourself time to discover so many different parts of Athens that you will absolutely love.
Amazing. So I want to know your 3 favorite Greek islands.
Yeah, so I'm really conflicted. I knew this question was coming up, obviously, and I'm really conflicted, right? Because everyone wants to keep their little space as a special place.
Yes, true.
But I'm a sharing kind of guy, so I'll share and care. Look, an island that's on the rise that is not a secret is Sifnos, which I spent some time there this summer, and it's an incredible island with beautiful beaches, super picturesque, and really good food too. The other one is actually two, Boros and Baros. So both Boro and Baro, which people do get confused and understandably why, are equally incredibly beautiful islands with really good people, great cuisine, and really good vibe. But my favourite go-to is a little island called Agistri, which is about 55 minutes away from Bureaux, and it's a really small island, so you can cycle your way or walk your way through it. But it's the ultimate escape for a weekend or a day or however long you want, because it's easy access back and forth to Athens, and it's so green and beautiful with some amazing beaches. One of my favourite beaches is on the island. It's called Kalkiada Beach. It's a bit treacherous to get down, so you've got to be careful how you get down, but it will really take your breath away.
Amazing. Your 3 favorite Greek dishes.
Okay, so I'm a vegetarian, right? So when people know I'm a vegetarian, they're like, "Oh, what do you eat in Greece if you're a vegetarian?" Because everyone's like, always eating this souvlaki. Well, this is probably the best place to be a vegetarian, actually. So there are so many vegetarian options. There are a couple of places that I go to that are my go-tos, and they're all very, very different. There's a place in City called Stoatop City, and it's old school Athens. They cook from a little stovetop that's like this big. And what comes out of that little stovetop is nothing short of incredible. They've named a dish after me, which I'm totally chuffed. It's the vegetarian version of their meat dish. And just ask for Niko's specialty and you'll blow them away, right? And because I'm trying to get the numbers up on the dish. So there's that. And then in stark contrast to that, there's a place in Pagrati, just down the road from here, called Marbella, and you've got a young, really into it, experimental chef who's redefining Greek cuisine with his own interpretation. Is amazing. So the food there, his risotto for veggie is incredible, but even his meat dishes and fish dishes look amazing. And there's a third place. It's called Mavro Provato, Black Sheep, by the Press Project guys, again here in Pagrati. And their food is just unbelievable. It's another go-to. They do another vegetable risotto with some grilled mantaria. Like, amazing. Amazing. Look, the food here is incredible, and it comes with hospitality, which you don't find everywhere. Going out for a meal here is an experience, and, relish that experience.
And how about your 3 favorite Greek desserts?
Okay, I love ekmek. Ekmek is one of my favorites, but there's a place down the road here that does traditional ekmek, as they do in Konstantinoupoli, and I absolutely love it. It's the season for melano makarona here at the moment, obviously, being lead up to Christmas, and a bakery down the road has them chocolate covered, which first I thought, chocolate covered? How Western is that? But they're actually really, really good. They're amazing. And, the third is I'm always a sucker for, like, Greek chocolate. And I think, we're all, kids of Greek migrants who live outside of Greece or go back and forth. We all do the big shop of Eon chocolate, either from the local supermarket or on the way out. So, yeah, Greek chocolate, any Greek chocolate, it's really good.
And your favorite Greek coffee?
I do Fredo Espresso with gala migdalu. So almond milk or coconut milk, Fredo Espresso. But as you know, like it changes because in the summer you can have that. In the winter, it's too cold to have it. So there's a real shift in seasons. You know when you start having hot coffee that the season has actually changed. And to be honest, at the moment, like we're in December here, it really hasn't changed much. Like it's still warm. I was at the t-shirt last night.
Yeah, no, for sure. No, it's getting cold here. I'm still doing Fredo Espressos and making them at home.
There you go.
But a few days ago, I was craving a hot cup of coffee, and I went and got myself a hot cup of coffee. But the Fredos, I make them at home. I was out. That's why I was craving that hot cup of coffee, because it was actually cold out. But when I'm at home, I got the Fredo station in the kitchen, making them.
Amazing.
All right, I got just a couple questions left for you.
Of course.
If you can be remembered for one thing, what is that one thing?
Legacy is really important. I think just someone who made a difference and helped. And I know you asked for one thing, but made a difference, helped, and made me feel good. So if I could help people and if they feel good about themselves and more confident to move forward, and I've helped transform or played a part in the transformation of their lives for good, I think that's a good legacy to leave.
All right, and then one last question, my sign-off question. What does being Greek mean to you?
I see your guests wanting to answer this question, and there's always a bit of a struggle, and it's a bit of an overwhelming question, because in short, it's everything. It's everything. It's our memories. It's our DNA. It's who we are, and it's us, right? It's our story. It's our story. So it really is everything. And I know that we all respect the countries that we grew up in, that we were born in, that we live in, full respect. But we belong to a history of people and a culture and a heritage that is so rich that even after all these years, it's such a strong part of who we are. And, sometimes the people that live here in Greece may not be able to fully understand it, but we grew up with stories from our parents and our grandparents, and they've all become ingrained. So it's every fibre of our being. To be Greek is everything. It's everything.
Well said. Last but not least, take this chance. If someone wants to find you, how can they find you, learn more about you? Take this moment and plug yourself.
Amazing. I'm here to help in any way that I can. So feel free to hit me up on LinkedIn. It's probably the main platform that you can get in touch with me. So yeah, just add me on LinkedIn and feel free to reach out with a private message or DM, and yeah, we can take it from there. So yeah, LinkedIn, we can find each other there.
Amazing. Well, Niko, thank you for coming on the show. This has been a lot of fun. Can't wait to see you again in person. But for now, we'll settle with this video call.
Tony, thank you so much for the chance. And can I just say kudos to all the great work that you're doing and that you've done, and the difference that you are making and giving so many people a voice through the channels that you've created almost single-handedly. So kudos to you. I cannot wait to see what you do next.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you guys for listening to this episode of Greece Chats with Tony Kariotis. Today's guest was Nikos Psaltopoulos, and we will talk to you again on the next episode.